Today, we are cracking the code of life itself. We're going to be talking about DNA, that microscopic blueprint that makes every single living thing on this planet totally unique. So let's dive in.
Have you ever just stopped and wondered, what makes you, well, you? What's the difference between a person, a plant, a puppy? The answer to all that incredible diversity of life is actually hidden away in a tiny little instruction manual tucked inside almost every single one of your cells.
I mean, just look at this family of dogs. They're all the same species, right? But they're obviously not identical. And it's the tiny, subtle differences in their DNA that create all those variations. Their size, their build, their fur color. It's a perfect example of how these tiny changes in the code can lead to big, visible differences out here in the real world.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. The absolute best way to think about DNA is as life's ultimate instruction manual. Seriously, every living thing has one, and it contains all the information needed not just to build it from scratch, but to keep it running for its entire life. Its full name is, get ready for it, deoxyribonucleic acid. Yeah, thankfully, we can all just call it DNA. And what's so incredible is that this molecule is universal. From the tiniest little bacterium to the biggest blue whale, DNA is carrying the instructions. It's literally the one language that all life on Earth shares. It connects you to every plant, every animal, everything.
So what do these instructions actually tell the cell to do? Well, mainly, they provide the recipes to build proteins. And you gotta understand, proteins are the real workhorses of your body. They are absolutely essential for everything, from growing new hair and healing a cut to literally carrying oxygen in your blood.
All right, so if DNA is the recipe book and proteins are the finished dishes, then what are the ingredients? Well, that brings us to the fundamental building blocks of life itself.
And you know, this quote from our source material just nails it. Amino acids are called the building blocks of life. Why? It's simple. Because every single protein in every living thing is built from these little chemical compounds.
Think of it like this. Your body has a pantry with over 20 different types of amino acids. By combining these ingredients in all sorts of different sequences and amounts, following that DNA recipe, of course, your body can create a practically endless variety of proteins, and each one has a very specific job to do.
And what's so cool here is how you can see the whole chain of command laid out. It all starts with the DNA code, right? That code is used to build proteins from amino acids. Then, those proteins come together to form our cells. And finally, those cells group up to become tissues and eventually complex organs like your heart or your brain. It's this incredible pyramid of complexity, all starting from that one set of instructions. Okay, so we've got the what and the why. Now let's get into the where. We're going to take a little trip inside the cell to see where this all actually happens, inside the protein factory. And welcome to the factory floor. This is a typical cell. Now, for our story, we only need to pay attention to two main spots. First, you've got the nucleus. That's kind of like the main office or the control center. And then, all around it, you have the cytoplasm. That's the bustling factory floor where all the raw materials are just floating around. And right away, we hit a really interesting little problem. The super important DNA instruction manual? It's locked away for safekeeping inside the nucleus. But all the amino acid building blocks we need, they're floating around outside on the factory floor in the cytoplasm. So, how do you get the recipe from the office out to the assembly line?
The solution is this totally ingenious molecular messenger. It's called ribonucleic acid, or RNA. Just think of it like making a photocopy. Inside that nucleus, a piece of the DNA gets unzipped, and a temporary, single-sided copy is made. This little RNA copy is small and mobile enough that it can slip right out of the nucleus and carry those precious instructions out to the factory floor. Problem solved!
So, our messenger, RNA, has delivered the recipe. Now for the really cool part. How does the cell's machinery actually read the code and turn it into a protein? It's time to decode the genetic alphabet.
Everybody, meet the chef of our factory, the ribosome. This incredible little machine just floats around in the cytoplasm, and it has one job and one job only: to grab that RNA message, read the instructions, and start assembling the amino acids in the exact right order. And get this, it does this with just incredible precision. The ribosome scoots along the RNA strand, and it reads the genetic code 3 letters at a time. Each one of those 3-letter words tells it which specific amino acid to grab and stick onto the growing protein chain. It's like a tiny little assembly machine following a ticker tape of instructions.
We've all seen this famous shape, right? The DNA double helix. It looks just like a twisted ladder. Well, the secret to the entire code is written in the rungs of that ladder. Each step, or rung, is made of a specific pair of chemicals, and the unique sequence of those rungs is exactly what the ribosome is reading.
And here it is. This is probably the most amazing part of the whole story. The entire, unbelievably complex instruction manual for every single living thing is written with an alphabet of just 4 letters. 4 chemicals: A, T, C, and G. That's it. The specific order of these 4 letters, read 3 at a time, is the universal code for all life. Mind-blowing, right?
Just understanding this code is easily one of the greatest scientific achievements in human history. But what's even crazier, what's truly revolutionary, is that we are now learning not just to read the code, but to rewrite it.
Now, sometimes a little typo can happen in the DNA instructions. We call that a mutation. And that mutation can change the code, which might cause a protein to get built in the wrong shape or maybe not get built at all. And sometimes that's what can lead to certain diseases.
And this is where it all gets really exciting. The whole field of biotechnology is taking this knowledge and making these incredible advances. Just imagine being able to precisely edit that genetic code to correct the typos that cause certain diseases. Scientists are already developing powerful new medicines tailored to your specific DNA. They're engineering crops to be more nutritious, to last longer. This is not science fiction anymore. It is happening right now, and it's all because we're starting to understand this tiny, incredible molecule.
So, we've seen that DNA is the fundamental instruction manual for all of life. For thousands of years, that book has been written purely by nature. But now, for the first time in history, humanity is picking up the pen. And that leaves us with a huge, fascinating question to think about. If DNA is life's instruction manual, what are we going to write in the next chapter?